Hey, everybody. This is Roger from Tree Life. Probably the last guy you'd probably think would be driving an electric car. Sorry about my voice. Got a little cold. Time of the year, weather changes. Um, anyway, I just want to do a little review of the Nissan Leaf. I've had, I bought two Nissan Leafs within a few months of each other. I bought a 2013 uh, the S model. It's like the lower end model. For some reason, the first one I bought had GPS, um, had cruise control. Um, of course, they all have heated seats, heated steering wheel, um, but it didn't have a backup camera. So I guess the difference between I wanted and it doesn't have the quick charger because I wasn't aware of all the options. I kind of just was in a hurry to get one, and I kind of bought the first one that I got a deal on. I ended up purchasing the first car from a dealership in Jacksonville, Florida. They had it marked at I think it was 68.95. It was the cheapest one I could find in the area. Um, I really had my heart set on a Tesla, but it just wasn't in the cards for me. So I decided to uh, basically buy my first electric car, and the Nissan was affordable. So ended up purchasing it. Like I said, about almost 3 years ago. The Like I said, it was a Model S stripped down, cloth seats, but it did have the cruise control and the GPS. Drove it for approximately probably 3 or 4 months, and I started to let my mom drive it because she lives pretty close to where I'm at, and she has a small cleaning service, and she does probably some 2 or 3 houses, 1 to 3 houses a day, um, and she drives less than probably 60 miles, probably 40, 50 miles a day, sometimes 30, sometimes less. So it was a perfect fit for her. Um, and I have quite a few vehicles, so it was kind of like a second vehicle for me. But I really enjoyed driving it, and I would say within a week of letting her drive the vehicle, she decided to keep it. So she sold her van. She had a Chevy minivan, and it started to have problems. Started having to put money into it. So she sold the van and started driving the car full time. And she has a lot of cleaning products in it. So she said, if you ever need the car, all you gotta do is just come over and get it. Or so whenever I tried to use it, it was full of cleaning products and smelled like bleach. And um, plus that was her only car. So I decided to buy another one. And it just so happened that there was another dealership in Jacksonville that had this almost the same identical car, except it was a 2013 Model S, but it didn't have the GPS. It didn't have the cruise control, but it was even more stripped down than the first one I bought. So, but I bought it for about the same price, and it didn't have a quick charger. So, um, I went and decided to install the chargers they come with are 110, and they're just kind of slow. You have to basically plug them in all night, and you're lucky to get a full charge all night because it's like 6 miles an hour. So if unless you have like 10 or 12 hours, you can't really get a full charge. I was an electrician for about a couple years, so I'm really familiar with basically all it is a dryer outlet. It's a 220. It's basically 110 and 110. It's two breakers in your breaker box, and you can pretty much go to any like Home Depot or Lowe's. You can just find out what kind of breaker panel you have. Buy a two pole breaker, and as long as you have room for it and some wire, and basically just put yourself in a dryer outlet where it's convenient to plug in. So I end up installing two 20 outlets at my mom's house. One on the inside, one on the outside, and then I went on Amazon and bought two. I think it's like 25 feet, 25 feet charge cords, and I think they're around 150, anywhere from 150 to 199. You can pay up to $300, but I ended up getting the ones around $200. And we've been using them for, like I said, almost 3 years now. Haven't had any problem. I'm not sure like why like all these people are like they're pushing these $2,000 and $3,000 home chargers that are installed by electricians. They you can buy a plug that plugs into a dryer outlet, and it does the same exact thing. All your cars have the electronics in there to charge off 110 or 220. So I'm not sure what you get for your money if you spend, $2,000 or $3,000 or even over $1,000, anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000 to install a wall charger with level 2. Because you can go on Amazon or you can order a level 2 charger for any car, and it's way under like $500, and it'll plug into. You can buy one that fits in any dryer outlet, and pretty much that's all you need, because you can charge anywhere from like right around 20 miles an hour, maybe give or take. And so you can charge your Nissan Leaf within three or 4 hours if it's completely dead. And normally I don't drive them. They usually have at least 10 or 20% charge. So every time I plug my car in, it only takes an hour or 2 hours, and I can go again. But my other vehicle is like a F-250. Gets like 8 miles to the gallon. So the only downside, well, my downside for the Nissan Leaf is the range. I bought a used one. I think they normally get close to 100. Mine, I think when I first got it, got 80. I think the highest rating was close to 90. But in the wintertime, it's a little bit less. If you're out driving it, it's more like 60, maybe 70. If you just drive in town, anything on the highway, you're going to get a lot less. But if you baby it, and you can get close to 80 or 90, but most of the time, average driving, you're going to get about 60. But the thing is, it only cost. I live in a condo, so I have to use a commercial charger. So it averages anywhere from $1 to, like, I think the most I ever charged my car for was like $2.30. So just figure 4 cents a mile, 3 to 4 cents a mile. It's a lot cheaper than anything else. Haven't had any problems with the car. Both cars, I think the only thing we've done so far is I put 2 tires on one, and then I think 4 tires on the other. And then we replaced the 12-volt battery on one of them, and the little clock, the watch battery that goes in the key fob remote. Other than that, it's just been windshield washer fluid. I did top them off with the extended range antifreeze, but once you top everything off, that's it. No brake issues. There's really so little maintenance, and what's awesome, I think, I didn't realize this, but one of the best things you can do for your parents, especially your mom. So your mom's getting older. She's in her 70s now. You never have to worry about them going to the gas station, and you never have to worry about them having to go to mechanic, because it seems like every time even though her car wasn't that old, and it seemed like there wasn't that many miles on it, every time she went to the mechanic, it seemed like it was $500, $800, $1,000, and When you get an older van, they're not worth more than 4 or 5 grand. So it's almost like you're putting more money into it than the car's worth. Um, but she told me that she is saving like $200 or $300 a month because she doesn't have a car payment, she doesn't have insurance payment. It's just like there's no maintenance. When you go to the gas station, you're always tempted to buy, candy, soda pop, chips, all this stuff you probably shouldn't be eating anyway. Every time you go to the mechanic, there's always something, because they have to make a living too. So even if there's nothing wrong, they say, well, we should flush the transmission, we should flush the radiator, maybe we should give a tune up to it. They're always, there's always something to do to a gas motor. Like, you can give it a tune up like more than it should. You can flush everything out more than you should. There's just always something, especially if you're a little bit naive to it. A good mechanic, they can, they can, over service your vehicle and charge you for it. So when you have an electric vehicle, it cuts all that mess out of there. Like, it's almost like cutting out the middleman, because there's hardly anything that goes wrong. And that's what I was looking at on the Nissan. I was like, well, what's the worst case scenario on an electric car? First of all, you're only paying like, the reason I bought it, like, even if you don't put nothing down, say you buy like the car is $68.95 with tax, title out the door, everything, like all the fees they add on, like $8,500. That's with everything. You take a loan out for $8,500, your payments are only like $140 a month. The one, I think it was like, yeah, $150 a month. You put like $1,000 or $1,500 down, it brings your payment way down, like $130, $140 a month. But you figure you're going to be saving at least that in fuel, because even if you spend like $30 or $40 a week in fuel, you're not going to be spending near that in electric. I think, like in my truck, if I go 200 miles, it costs me like $40. If I do that in my electric car, it's not even $8. So you're saving for every $40 you spend, you're saving like almost $30 to $32. It might vary a little bit, but the gas savings alone is going to make your car payment. And then all your, like you hardly have to do brake jobs, because the the car doesn't use brakes to stop. The motors stop you, and it charges your battery. So you got regenerative braking. It's been over 2 years, and I haven't had hardly any. No squeaks or nothing. The only time you use your brakes is like if you slam them hard or brake super hard real quick. Other than that, you hardly ever use your brakes. What else? I think that's about it. But I recommend, if you guys, I know everybody wants a Tesla. Everybody wants, to have the fastest, coolest ride in town. But if you can't afford it, and you still want to buy an electric car, and I would recommend too, it'd be an excellent, excellent second car, because that's kind of how I use it. Because I want a Tesla, but I'm waiting for the truck to come out. So till the truck comes out, I'm not buying anything else. I'm just going to drive the Leaf and suck it up and drive it as much as I can until the truck comes out. So you're going to save, and that also too, if you buy a Leaf, you're going to save so much money, and you're just going to be so happy, like especially for a second car. You can, if you want later on to buy a Tesla, that's going to put you in the next step. Plus, you never know, like, I'm going to keep my Leaf as a backup or a second car, even after I get a Tesla, because I have a tree service, so guys are always running after parts, going to Napa, going to the welding shop. It actually has a lot of room. You can carry a lot of material. You can fold the seats down, and you know, after a while, say the car gets beat up a little bit, you can use it for a shop truck or a shop car. Who cares if it gets a little dirty or greasy? It can be washed, but it's going to save you so much money in the long run with the maintenance. And another thing, if you have a teenager and they need a car, just think about it. They can't go out of town. You don't have to worry about them going like, you know, over 100 miles, because they'll never make it back. So it'd be a really good car for the first car because, teenagers, they don't check the oil, they don't check the transmission fluid, they run out of fuel. I mean, the worst thing that they can do is not charge the car. You don't have to go behind them and check the oil, check the transmission fluid, check the brake fluid, radiator fluid. You check the air pressure, you charge it up, and you go. So I think that would be an excellent car for a teenager. It takes all the worry out of it, and they're so cheap. I mean, I think you can get them now for like $4,000 for 2011. It might have aluminum range like 40 or 50 miles, but still, most people don't drive over 30 miles a day, so that would be a really cheap car to get. Anyway, thumbs up, Nissan Leaf. It's the cheapest car you can drive. I mean, 3 to 4 cents a mile. I mean, how can you go wrong? And your fuel savings will make your car payment, and your maintenance that you save will help make your insurance payment. It's a no-brainer.